Train? What's the point of this training? Feng Ruoqing asked blankly. Ye Yuan shrugged his shoulders and said, up to you whether you want to train or not. If you keep on training the yin-yang separation flow technique like you did just now, then you might as well find a way to directly increase your soul strength. It isn't so easy to jump ranks to battle. TCH. What's so hard about this? I will draw right now for you to see. Feng Ruoqing refused to concede. Saying that, she pushed Ye Yuan aside and also drew on the paper. But as she drew, the right hand became a circle. Furthermore, an uneven circle. I don't believe this. Feng Ruoqing drew again. She concentrated on making her right hand's drawing into a square. The result was that the right hand drew a square, and the left hand also drew a square. After a few more times, Feng Ruoqing was thoroughly defeated. Why is this so hard? Not drawing anymore. Feng Ruoqing threw the brush aside in a fit like a little girl throwing a tantrum. Where was the proud and cold female teacher? It's because it is difficult. That's why I asked you to draw it. Train well. After you master this, you shouldn't be far from crossing the entry threshold of the yin-yang separation flow technique. All right. I've already taught you the secret. I don't need to be your assistant for the next few days anymore, right? I'm leaving. Halt. Do you think that you can hoodwink me by coming up with this crap? If you dare to walk out today, I will make the dean expel you. If you don't believe me, just try. Feng Ruoqing was livid. Ye Yuan came up with some dubious thing and said that it would help in mastering the yin-yang separation flow technique. Was it not insulting her intelligence? And, who are you arguing with? At this moment, a girl dressed in white martial outfit pushed the door open and entered. This person was similarly a stunning beauty, with watery almond-shaped eyes like a crescent moon, and a slender waist that looked like it had no bones. Silky hair flowed down her shoulders. She wore white-colored martial clothing while carrying a sword, giving off a heroic spirit. Looking closely, this girl and Feng Ruoqing's eyebrows had some similarity. No wonder she called out aunt. It was just that the age difference between this aunt and niece pair was too small. They looked just like sisters instead. Ye Yuan had never seen this girl before, but he quickly figured out who this white-clothed girl was. The most popular instructor in the Danwu Academy was Feng Ruoqing, and the most popular female student was Feng's hero. Who could such a stunning beauty with the Feng surname be other than Feng's hero? It was just that Ye Yuan previously did not link these two together, and he did not know that the two of them were actually aunt and niece. Feng's hero looked at Ye Yuan and looked at the disheveled-looking Feng Ruoqing. She was stunned. She immediately cried out, "You scoundrel! To actually dare molest my aunt! I'm going to teach you a lesson." Finishing, she did not wait for Ye Yuan's explanation, and a sword already flashed in front of Ye Yuan's chest like lightning. Ye Yuan did not expect this girl to be so unreasonable, indiscriminately striking with her sword to harm him. He wanted to evade, but Feng's hero was rank 3 on the martial roll of honor, a figure that Ye Yuan simply could not hope to match. Being locked down by Feng's hero's sword Ye Yuan was actually unable to move. Even Instant Flash became sluggish. This was a lethal sword. This unforeseen situation occurred too quickly. Feng Ruoqing clearly did not manage to react in time either. Even if she wanted to help, it was already too late. Ah! Feng Ruoqing screamed and shut her eyes in fright. In the time of crisis, Ye Yuan could not be bothered to conceal his abilities. In a flurry, he executed an absolute yang finger. Ding! Following the crisp sound was the sound of the sword's edge slicing open the skin. Ye Yuan pushed Instant Flash to its limit at the same time he used his finger, dodging this sword by a hair's breadth. Even so, he still suffered some injuries. The sword's edge made a cut on his right arm. Stop! Feng Ruoqing was shocked by Feng's hero's action and hurriedly called out for her to stop. She had the intention to stop it just now, but she was way too slow. After practicing the yin-yang separation flow technique for such a long time, both her essence energy and mental strength was already completely dried up. How could she possibly stop Feng Xiro's attack? Watching Feng Xiro's sword stabbed straight towards Ye Yuan's chest, Feng Ruoqing's heart leaped to her throat. Who knew that Ye Yuan would miraculously evade this lethal attack? Feng Xiro also did not expect her sword to be evaded by Ye Yuan. She saw through Ye Yuan's strength at a glance, only at the 4th level Essence G realm. Someone at the 4th level Essence G realm actually managed to dodge her sword. Even though Feng Xiro only used 30% of her strength and not her full power, it should still not have been evaded by a 4th level Essence G realm. Especially Ye Yuan's finger just now. The impact even made the web between her thumb and index finger go numb. How was this possible? Xiro, what are you doing? Feng Ruoqing asked angrily. Only now did Feng Xiro realize that she seemed to have gotten into trouble. She playfully stuck out her tongue and said, "A man and woman staying together in a room. I saw you lose your temper, and your clothes were also disheveled, so I thought." Feng Ruoqing blushed heavily at what she said. "If you continue saying nonsense, watch me tear your mouth. We have been refining pills all this while. Ye Yuan is the assistant that I invited. When will you fix your mischievous attitude? Otherwise, you will cause a disaster sooner or later." Feng Xiro pouted her lips and said in an aggrieved tone, I was wrong, okay? I won't dare to next time." "Why haven't you apologized to Ye Yuan yet?" Feng Ruoqing asked furiously. Before Feng Xiro even apologized, Ye Yuan erupted first. He really had enough of it today. He was driven like a duck onto a perch, forced to become some bullshit assistant for Feng Ruoqing. The result was that Feng Ruoqing was such a noob that he could not even bear to look on anymore. He taught Feng Ruoqing the method on how to dual task. But the result was that instead of expressing her gratitude, this woman refused to stop bothering him. And now, there was this completely unreasonable Feng Xiro who jumped out, nearly killing him with her sword. Ye Yuan barely managed to get this life. If he were to die again, then he would be screwed. What apology? I've really had enough of the two of you and niece. One keeps pestering me, and the other is savage and unreasonable. I came here to help out of goodwill, and the result was that I nearly lost my life. Just who did I provoke? This young master can't stand his frustration anymore. Feng Ruoqing, if you have the ability, then just get me expelled. If this place won't keep me, there will be a place willing to take me. Farewell." Finishing, Ye Yuan strode out of the door. Feng Xiro was originally ready to make an apology but was rebuffed by Ye Yuan. She could not help it but become angry. "Who's that? He's so bad-tempered. Just now, I didn't make clear of the situation. But didn't he only suffer some light injuries?" Feng Ruoqing did not stop Ye Yuan this time. But after hearing Feng Xiro grumbling, she inevitably became annoyed. "Look who's talking. That sword of yours nearly killed him just now, and you are still acting so righteous. Imperial brother really spoiled you. When I go back this time around, I'll definitely report all of your misdoings in the academy to Imperial brother to make him ground you." The moment Feng Xiro heard ground, she immediately grabbed Feng Ruoqing's arm and begged, "Good aunt, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please, please don't snitch on me to Imperial father. I don't want to stay in the palace all day." "Humph. If you don't want to be grounded, then fine. Turn around and go apologize to Ye Yuan. Remember, it's apologizing. If Ye Yuan doesn't accept your apology, then just wait to be grounded. I will tell Imperial brother all about your matters, one by one." Feng Ruoqing was in a panic now. If Ye Yuan were really killed by Feng Xiro just now, then she would probably live in guilt for the rest of her life. All right. I will go, okay? I will definitely apologize properly to that fellow and ask that great man to not harbor grievance for my past wrongdoing. All right. Feng's hero did not have any choice, so she could only agree. That's much better. Oh right. Why did you suddenly come to look for me? This niece had always avoided her in the academy. She definitely came to find her today because of some matter. Yeah. If you didn't mention, I would have forgotten about it already. It's all because you interrupted me. Feng's hero looked like she was suddenly enlightened. Actually, I came to say goodbye to you. I'm going back to the capital in 5 days to participate in the Alchemy Master Test. After I pass the test, I will be the same as you, an Alchemy Master. Feng's hero exclaimed proudly. With the way you are, you still want to be an Alchemy Master. Talk again after you pass. Feng Ruoqing took her down a peg without hesitation. Advancing as an alchemist was entirely different from the martial path. To advance to Alchemy Master, the first requirement was to cultivate and reach the spirit condensation realm. But that did not mean that one could become an Alchemy Master just by advancing to the spirit condensation realm. Feng's hero already reached spirit condensation realm long ago, but she never passed the Alchemy Master test, even though she was top 3 on the Alchemy Roll of Honor. From this, it was clear just how rare and respected the position of Alchemy Master was. Feng's hero pouted and said, "What kind of ant are you? You actually cursed your own niece to fail the test." Feng Ruoqing ignored her and muttered to herself, "Oh, is it a group test again? I wonder how far Ye Yuan can go." With his standard, becoming high-rank alchemy apprentice shouldn't be an issue, I think. Hero, I will go along with you tomorrow to visit Ye Yuan. I want him to go take the alchemist test together with you. Hee. And, you still said that nothing was going on between you two. Every time you open your mouth, it's all Ye Yuan. Feng's hero laughed at her. Damn lass. It looks like you are really asking for a beating. Feng Ruoqing was totally embarrassed. The aunt and niece pair started wrestling each other. After messing around for a while, Feng's hero suddenly thought of something and asked, Ye Yuan. I suddenly find this name really familiar. Oh right? Is it the Ye Yuan who fought in the death match? You only realize this now. He is the hottest topic of discussion in the academy recently. I'm sure you aren't aware of it yet. Just this morning, he took on 3 tests consecutively and joined the ranks of the Earth rank students with his 4th level Essence G realm cultivation. Hero, he might become a powerful rival to you in the not-too-distant future. Feng Ruoqing said solemnly. Feng's hero opened her mouth wide and exclaimed in amazement, He's that amazing? It looks like our state of Qin's Danwu Academy has been quiet for far too long. Looks like things are finally going to become interesting. Feng's hero left, and Feng Ruoqing unexpectedly picked up 2 brushes, and she started diligently drawing squares and circles on the paper over and over again. The next day, Feng Ruoqing and her niece went together to Ye Yuan's residence but was turned away at the door by Louis R. My apologies to the 2 of you. My young master is recovering from his wounds, and he said that he won't meet with anyone, Louis R said emotionlessly. Feng's hero immediately lost her temper. Hey, didn't he just suffer from some light injuries? My aunt and I already came here to apologize. What else does he want? Louis R was lovable and adorable, but when it came to young master, she was completely stern. Yesterday, when young master came home with injuries, her heart ached for a long time. Now that Feng's hero was totally insincere with her apology and even swaggered around, she obviously did not need to be polite. Light injuries. I don't understand. You clearly injured someone, but you are still so stuck up in front of other people's house. Who taught you such manner? An apology like that is too precious, so save it for yourself. Our family's young master dare not accept it. I only pray that you stay further away from our family's young master. I'm not going to see you out. Luiyar directly chased them away. Feng's hero was about to retort when Feng Ruoqing quickly clamped her mouth shut. This lass is only good at ruining things. Miss Luiyar, it's all our fault. Please don't be mad. Actually, Zero, this lass didn't have any ill intentions. She is just straightforward and outspoken, and she is always rash when doing things and ended up injuring your young master. In reality, she feels really guilty in her heart. It's just that her mouth is unforgiving. You mustn't try to gain back face with her. One of the reasons we came to look for your young master was to apologize. The other is that we have some important matters to look for him. Just let us go in, Feng Ruoqing said amicably but was much more sincere. Right then, Ye Yuan's voice sounded from within the house. Luiyar, tell them that I'm not in. The three people outside the house were collectively speechless. Feng's hero was infuriated by Ye Yuan's attitude and was about to rush into to dice Ye Yuan into pieces, but she was pulled back by Feng Ruoqing. If you cause trouble again, just wait to be grounded when you get back. Feng Ruoqing warned coldly. It was clear that she was exasperated by this niece. Feng's hero could not muster up her temper anymore. Only then did Feng Ruoqing called out towards the house, Ye Yuan, it was Hero's fault yesterday. I apologize to you on her behalf. And also I apologize for my attitude yesterday. I won't force you to be my assistant in the future, all right? Creak. The door opened, and Ye Yuan appeared. You're the one who said it. A good woman is as good as her word. You can't go back on it. Ye Yuan was currently in high spirits. Where were there even any signs of injuries? Ye Yuan, you. Feng's hero took a look at Ye Yuan and wished that she could raise her sword to kill him again. But she was completely blocked by Feng Ruoqing. You, what you? Don't think that I'm scared of you just because you are some martial roles expert. Wait until I break through to the spirit condensation realm. I can kill you with one hand. Ye Yuan was very displeased with this woman. The Feng's hero in the legends was extremely cold and proud and would not spare a glance for anyone. Who knew that when he met her yesterday, she would actually be a complete lunatic. Ye Yuan had walked around the gates of hell once again. It would be weird if he were pleased to see her. And, let me go. I'm going to kill him. I'll see what he has to break through to the spirit condensation realm. Feng's hero struggled desperately but did not manage to break free. Enough of this. Just try moving again if you dare. Feng Ruoqing really released Feng's hero, but her words made Feng's hero stop. Ye Yuan, if you don't want me to force you to be my assistant, fine. But you have to promise me one thing. If you can do it, I will let you off, Feng Ruoqing said calmly. Hearing her words, Ye Yuan raised his guard instinctively. This woman might look good-natured, but in reality, she was as unreasonable as Feng's hero deep down in her bones. Previously, she had already set a trap for him. Now, who could guarantee that it was not another trap? Say what it is first. Better not force me. At most, I will just go back to the capital to continue being a silk pants. Ye Yuan answered like a hoodlum. However, Feng Ruoqing did not seem to care. Instead, she gave a sweet smile. In 4 days' time, the Academy will organize students to go to the capital's Alchemist Association to take part in a group test. I want Yuan's hero to take the test together. Alchemist test. Ye Yuan was stunned. He did not expect Feng Ruoqing to actually raise such a request. Taking the test was not much, but he instinctively held some resistance towards the Alchemist Association. In his past life, he and his father had poor relations with the Alchemist Association. The two were ostracized by all the other alchemists as deviants. Now that Ye Yuan was asked to take the test, he felt kind of weird. That's right. I want you to participate in the Alchemist Association's Alchemy Apprentice test. And you must go all out. Don't tell me that you can't even pass an alchemy apprentice test. Feng Ruoqing knew now that Ye Yuan's level was definitely much higher than an alchemy apprentice. It was just that he was limited by his strength, so he could not refine high-tier medicinal pills. But with Ye Yuan's alchemy deo prowess, would becoming an alchemy apprentice not be just like playing around? Ye Yuan did not immediately reply to Feng Ruoqing, but he paced around to ponder about it for a moment. Finally, he nodded his head and then answered, "Fine. I will join." Dean, the talent that this Ye Yuan displayed was truly astonishing. I feel that the Academy should nurture him well. The 10 Nations competition will be taking place in half a year's time. We had already lost for many years. If we are at the bottom 3 again this time, we would really have no place to put our old face in public. Within the loft, in a deep part of the Danwu Academy, Huanyang was standing respectfully in front of a middle-aged man. This man was the dean of the Danwu Academy, Zhang Yunhe. He was a figure that carried tremendous weight in the entire state of Qin. His position in the state of Qin was not even beneath His Majesty. But Zhang Yunhe was very low profile as a person, and he rarely showed himself. He pretty much left it all to the associate deans to handle things and did not do anything. During the few years which students spent in the Danwu Academy, they might not even get to see him once. Even among many of the instructors, Zhang Yunhe was a highly mysterious figure. Clearly, Huanyang was one of the few people in the academy who could meet with Zhang Yunhe. It was evident that Huanyang specifically came to report to Zhang Yunhe about Ye Yuan's matter. He recounted Ye Yuan's stunning performance to Zhang Yunhe. But Zhang Yunhe only listened quietly and did not comment anything. "Oh Huan, calm down. Victory and defeat are common for soldiers. There's no need to fuss over the details. Life is full of ups and downs. When it's time for us to rise up, other people cannot stop it," Zhang Yunhe said nonchalantly. "But Dean, Ye Yuan, Huanyang wanted to say a few more words for Ye Yuan, but Zhang Yunhe gestured to stop him. "I already said calm down." "Sigh. Huan, you are always like this. What are you anxious about? We haven't even started competing yet. Furthermore, we also have quite a few outstanding students this time around, such as Long Tang, Zhou Bagui, and also Feng's hero that lass. They are all good seedlings. Well, this Ye Yuan that you mentioned isn't bad, but a genius that has not matured yet isn't a genius. Any genius who hasn't broken through and reached the spirit condensation realm doesn't count as a genius. Understood?" After Zhang Yunhe said all that, Huanyang slowly calmed down. He seemed to have understood something faintly. "Dean, are you afraid that Ye Yuan is going down the unorthodox path?" Thinking about it now, Ye Yuan was just a first-level Essence G realm little rookie a month ago. In a month's time, he already reached the 4th-level Essence G realm with actual combat power surpassing top geniuses at the 8th-level Essence G realm. This sort of leap was a little too exaggerated. Without mentioning about others, even a genius like Long Tang would probably require at least a year's time to train from the 1st-level Essence G realm to the 4th-level Essence G realm. But Ye Yuan did it in only a month. Such astonishing growth was truly inconceivable. The most immediate idea was most likely that he had overexhausted his potential, right? And the price for overexhausting one's potential was sacrificing future growth. Zhang Yunhe smiled and said, "I didn't say that. But let's observe for a period of time first. You don't have to worry too much about resources and whatnot. Didn't Ye Yuan plunder several tens of thousands of Essence G pills? It shouldn't be a problem to train to the 9th-level Essence G realm." Huanyang sighed and took his leave. After Huanyang left, Zhang Yunhe walked to the window with his hands behind his back and muttered to himself, "Oh Ye Yuan, I really hope that you are a peerless genius. Don't let me down." The alchemist test would be taking place in the capital in 4 days' time. Ye Yuan figured that he might as well skip classes, and brought Luiyar back home to stay for a few days. As he had just broken through not long ago, Ye Yuan planned to use these few days to properly consolidate his realm. The next step would be to directly assault the 6th level Essence G realm. Within a minor stage in the Essence G realm, Ye Yuan could completely disregard the bottleneck between realms and directly cross them. This was already after intentionally slowing down. If it was not out of fear that his foundation would become unstable, Ye Yuan could even break through several realms within a day. After all, the Essence G realm was simply too easy for Ye Yuan, who was once a divine king. If Master and Madam know that young Master became an Earth rank student, they would be ecstatic. Luiyar was full of pride, as if she was the one who became an Earth rank student. It's just being a stupid Earth rank student. Who cares? Ye Yuan curled his lips in disdain. Of course it's impressive. You don't know what kind of expression they had outside. Each of them stared at the light screen as if they saw a ghost. Initially, I didn't know how amazing Earth rank students are. But afterward, I heard that there had never been anyone in the Danwu Academy who advanced and became an Earth rank when they were at the 4th level Essence G realm. That's when I found out that young Master is so incredible. Luiyar said excitedly. Haha. There will be plenty more times for them to be shocked in the future. If you are this way each time, wouldn't it be exhausting? Infected by Luiyar's mood, Ye Yuan also started laughing heartily. Why would that be tiring? If that were the case, I would be happy every day. Luiyar replied seriously. Then I will make my Luiyar happy every day, okay? Hee. Young Master is still the best. Luiyar is already very happy right now. Yeef. Why are there so few people in the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion? Normally in the past, the queue would be super long at this time. The master and servant peer arrived at the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion without realizing it. But then Luiyar found that something was not quite right with the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion. In the past, the entrance to the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion was always crowded with streams of people. But today, it looked a little deserted. Let's go in to check it out. Ye Yuan entered the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion with Luiyar and discovered that there were really much fewer people. It was not even half of the norm in the past. What was going on? Young Master Ye, why are you back? The shopkeeper was clearly idling today. The moment Ye Yuan walked in, he noticed this and hurried over to greet the former. Shopkeeper Feng, why are there so few people in the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion today? What happened? The shopkeeper was surnamed Feng and was the third born, so he was called Feng San Wan. He was an old employee of the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion and was completely loyal. Even Ye Hang was very respectful towards him. Hearing Ye Yuan's question, he involuntarily let out a long sigh. Sigh. Isn't it all thanks to that drunken Star Manor? Who knows where they got the pill formula of something called Essence Gathering Pill? The medicinal effects are 50% stronger than even the effects of a high-grade Essence G pill. These few days, they released the new medicinal pills, attracting everyone over. As a result, our Fragrant Medicine Pavilion's business fell drastically. Sigh. With this sort of medicinal pill, the Drunken Star Manor is now undefeatable. The owner has also been troubled by this these few days. It's really Drunken Star Manor again. Essence Gathering Pill, huh? Ye Yuan started to muse. That's right. The price of this Essence Gathering Pill is about the same as a high-grade Essence G pill, but the medicinal effects are 50% stronger. As long as one is a martial artist, who could possibly resist this kind of temptation? Sigh. It looks like hard times are ahead for our Fragrant Medicine Pavilion. Feng San sighed and groaned. His face was full of worry. It was apparent that he spent the past few days distressed over it. This move by the Drunken Star Manor came too suddenly without any signs at all. The Fragrant Medicine Pavilion was caught unaware. As a result, this led to the current situation. Don't worry too much, Shopkeeper Fen. It's just a tiny little essence gathering pill. It can't cause any huge waves. Yayuan smiled as he consoled the shopkeeper. Feng San looked at Yayuan and sighed as he said, "Young master probably isn't aware of what this 50% medicinal effect means. This is something that can change the medicinal pills market in the state of Qin. With this, the Drunken Star Manor can become a monopoly power in the future." Yayuan knew that any explanation was futile, so he smiled and asked, "Shopkeeper Fen, is my father in the shop? I will go look for him." "Yes. The owner has been in a closed-door seclusion in the pill refinement room these past few days." Ye Hang's hands moved like phantoms as he operated the pill cauldron. The medicinal pill in the pill cauldron was about to form as it gave off a faint light. Set. Ye Hang gave a low cry, and the light on the medicinal pill dissipated, forming a dark green medicinal pill. Making a gesture of grabbing at it, the pill flew into Ye Hang's hand. Sigh. I was too overconfident. If it were so easy to invent a new medicinal pill, how could it be that it's my, Ye Hang's, turn to do it? Ye Hang shook his head and threw away the newly refined pill. Presently, Ye Hang looked utterly haggard. It was evident that he was greatly exhausted. He was attempting to develop new medicinal pills without getting any sleep or rest these few days in order to prevent the fragrant medicine pavilion from declining. But all of his efforts were in vain. Even though Essence G pill was not among high-tier pills, after countless years of development, it was actually incomparably mature. How could it be easy to develop a new medicinal pill which had even stronger medicinal effects than Essence G pill to replace it? I didn't think that after working hard for so many years, Ye Hang, still can't escape the outcome of defeat. What a failure! Ye Hang sighed again. Unwittingly, Ye Yuan's figure suddenly appeared in Ye Hang's mind, and some clarity was restored in his hazy eyes. If I'm defeated, then I'm defeated. At least my son has that mysterious teacher. His future accomplishments will definitely be limitless. He was naturally aware of Ye Yuan's performance in the Danwu Academy these past few days, and he was delighted in his heart. But he was still not aware that Ye Yuan had already advanced to the 4th level Essence G realm, passed the Black Rank Advancement Test, and became an Earth Rank student. Ye Hang was originally a sanguine person and did not take defeat heavily. It was just that this bunch of old fellows at the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion had followed him for a long time. His individual success or failure was connected to the livelihood of many people. That was why he tried day and night to regain some lost ground. Perhaps their hearts were connected. Just as Ye Hang thought about his son, Ye Yuan's knocking on the door sounded. "Father, this child is back. May I enter?" Ye Hang's heart shook slightly, and he went to open the door. Sure enough, it was Ye Yuan. "Father, I heard that you were in a closed-door seclusion, so I came here directly. I didn't interrupt you, did I?" Ye Yuan bowed towards Ye Hang and asked. "Ha ha. What's there to interrupt? Yuan is back. Any important matter has to be put aside. Come, let us father and son talk in the study room. Tell me what happened in the Danwu Academy." Ye Hang pulled his son and headed out. Ye Yuan was touched. Ye Hang's love for his son really surpassed everything. Even at this time, Ye Hang was interested to find out about Ye Yuan's experience in the Danwu Academy rather than finding a way to save the situation. One could only imagine Ye Yuan's place in Ye Hang's heart. Before leaving, Ye Yuan swept his eyes around the pill refinement room and sniffed the medicinal fragrance lingering in the air. He already knew the goal of Ye Hang's closed-door seclusion. "Yuan, I heard that you had a death match with that brat from the Wan family whose surname was Fei, right after you returned to the academy. And that you finished him off with your 3rd-level Essence G realm strength. That is so satisfying. Yeeth. Why, you already broke through to the 4th-level Essence G realm." Just now, Ye Hang did not notice yet. But as he was talking, he discovered that Ye Yuan's aura was much stronger than before he left. Clearly, he already broke through to the 4th-level Essence G realm, so he could not help but be astonished. Ha ha. I was fortunate and broke through 2 days ago. I also passed through 3 advancement tests consecutively yesterday. Now, I'm already an Earth rank student. Ye Yuan was not showing off, but it was because he knew that his father was in a lousy mood. So he found something to cheer him up. It was clear just how much effort he expended from how worn out Ye Hang looked. Ye Yuan felt his heart ache just by looking at him. As expected, when Ye Yuan told him that, Ye Hang immediately perked up and exclaimed in delight, the heavens had opened their eyes. My son really became competent. That brat from the Wan family only just advanced to become Earth rank, but my son only used a month to do the same. What a resounding face-smacking difference. Ha ha ha. After a bout of hearty laughter, Ye Hang gradually quietened down. But the joy on his face could not be concealed. Suddenly recalling something, Ye Hang frowned slightly and asked him, "Yuner, it's naturally a good thing for your strength to advance so quickly. But would it affect your future cultivation?" Ye Hang's worry happened to coincide with Zhang Yunhe's. This concern was not without reason. Cultivating the martial Dao always focused on moving along carefully each step of the way. It was cultivation's great taboo to neglect a solid foundation in pursuit of a temporary spurt of progress. Ye Yuan's advancement was truly too rapid. As a father, he was naturally concerned whether or not his son's foundation was unstable, and if it would affect future cultivation. "Don't worry, father. I know what I'm doing. The cultivation law that Master passed on to me is highly mystical. If I didn't fear that my cultivation realm rising too quickly would affect my foundation, it wouldn't be a problem for me to cultivate to the 7th or 8th level Essence G realm right now," Ye Yuan replied indifferently. After he said that, Ye Hang calmed down even though he was still a little worried. The master in Ye Yuan's dream was unfathomable and passed him so many techniques. He most likely would not harm him. Then it's all right. Oh right. You just went to the academy a while ago. Why did you return to the capital again? Do you lack cultivation resources? The matter of Ye Yuan participating in the alchemist test was only decided yesterday. Ye Hang did not receive the news yet. In 4 days' time, a party from the academy will undergo a group test at the Alchemist Association. I'm here to take part in the alchemist test. Alchemist test. Oh. You can refine heart-inch Fisher. So taking the alchemist apprentice test is obviously not an issue. It's just that the alchemist test only has 3 chances. Yuner, your experience is still too little after all. Are you confident? The way Ye Hang saw it, Ye Yuan definitely failed countless times before he succeeded in refining the heart-inch Fisher back then. Nobody knew him like his father. In the past, Ye Yuan basically never even touched alchemy before. How could one possibly increase the success rate of pill refinement without their technique being tempered through countless practices? I trained quite a bit these past few days, so it shouldn't be an issue. Ye Yuan smiled. Then that's good. Take these 2 days to adjust yourself properly to take the test in your best condition. Ye Hang encouraged him. Ye Yuan naturally nodded and acknowledged those words. Following which, he took the opportunity to ask, "Father, when I just came back, I asked shopkeeper Feng, are you worrying about the essence gathering pill these past few days, father?" When Ye Yuan mentioned this matter, a trace of uneasiness flashed across Ye Hang's face. But it was quickly covered up as he smiled and said, "Yuner, you just have to cultivate well in the academy. Don't worry about what's happening at home. Wan Donghai couldn't do anything to your father after so many years. This time around, it's obviously going to be the same." Ye Yuan let out a sigh and said, "Father, I'm already grown up. This kind of low-level lie won't work on me." Ye Hang gave an awkward look. Ha. Actually this time around it's a little bit problematic. Father, Master taught me many areas of alchemy in my dream. There is a type of medicinal pill called explosive UN pill. The medicinal effects are multiple times of the xianxia pill. It should help you tide over the crisis this time, Ye Yuan said solemnly. Multiple times. You are talking about tier 2 medicinal pills, right? Then it's useless. Ye Hang shook his head. He did not think that there were any tier 1 medicinal pills with multiple times the medicinal effects of the xianxia pill. However, Ye Yuan shook his head and said, not a tier 2. It's only a tier 1 medicinal pill. What? A tier 1 medicinal pill? Multiple times? How is that possible? Ye Hang stared wide-eyed at him, with disbelief written all over his face. Modifying a matured medicinal pill formula to improve its medicinal effects was an extremely difficult thing. Ye Hang was already a low-rank alchemist grandmaster, and even he could not improve the medicinal effects of the xianxia pill. It was clear at a glance just how challenging that was. As for creating a new tier 1 medicinal pill with medicinal effects multiple times that of the xianxia pill, that was merely a fantasy. Otherwise, how could the drunken Star Manor's essence gathering pill possibly give Ye Hang such enormous pressure? And now, the fantasy really became a reality. Imagine the shock in Ye Hang's heart. Ever since Ye Hang stepped onto the alchemy path, he had never heard of any tier 1 medicinal pills with medicinal effects multiple times that of the xianxia pill over the past few decades. But Ye Yuan said that this explosive UN pill actually had such a miraculous effect. Ye Hang was extremely conflicted right now. Reason told him that this was entirely a lie. But the person who uttered this lie was his son. So should he believe it or not? After sucking in a deep breath, Ye Hang gave a pained look and asked, you aren't joking with father, right? But Ye Yuan just smiled and said, why don't you try it to see for yourself, father? Ye Hang quickly stood up and dragged Ye Yuan along. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go to the pill refinement room. Don't be anxious, father. I still have something to tell you. Ye Yuan did not move. Yeah. If there's anything, we can talk about it later. Refining the explosive UN pill is the top priority. Ye Hang already could hardly wait. This concerned the survival of the fragrant medicine pavilion. Even though Ye Hang looked calm on the outside, he was actually incomparably anxious on the inside. The fragrant medicine pavilion was the fruit of his life's labor. No matter how sanguine about it he was not willing to watch the monkeys scatter overnight when the tree falls. However, Ye Yuan was not anxious at all. Pulling his father back to his seat, he smiled and said, explosive UN pill is just a minor thing. I have countless pill formulas that Master passed on to me. What I'm about to say is the crucial thing. Just be a little more patient, father. Ye Hang was a little perplexed. What could be more important than saving the fragrant medicine pavilion? All right, you talk, I'll listen. Ye Yuan returned to his seat and said seriously, there were many miscellaneous things that Master imparted to me in my dreams. But there are 2 sets of techniques I need to inform you about, father. The first is called the Spirit Bristle 9 Yang Divine Art. The other is called the 1000 Augmenting Soul Incantation. Father, you can switch to these 2 cultivation laws. One, I believe that in the future, the Tranquil Cloud sect would merely be a small sect to you. Listening to the names of the 2 cultivation techniques that Ye Yuan said shocked Ye Hang greatly. This time around, the shock that he felt was even greater than hearing about the explosive UN pill. 1000 Augmenting Soul Incantation? Is that a cultivation technique for cultivating soul strength? A tremor could be heard in Ye Hang's voice. He was apparently very agitated. Ye Hang did not know what the hell the Spirit Bristle 9 Yang Divine Art was. But he immediately connected the name 1000 Augmenting Soul Incantation to a soul cultivation technique. It was impossible to use words to describe just how valuable soul cultivation laws were in a place like the state of Qin. Even if the lowest rank soul cultivation law came into being, it would set off a bloodstorm. It simply could not be measured using monetary terms. For martial artists, essence energy cultivation techniques were commonplace. It was just differentiated into whether it was good or bad. But something like soul cultivation technique was so rare that it made one's hair stand on end. In comparison to essence energy, the soul was more arcane and veiled in mysteries. Wanting to create a set of soul cultivation laws was even harder than reaching the heavens. Since ancient times, only major powers who had reached an exceedingly high realm in terms of soul cultivation and had an incredibly profound understanding towards the soul could create a soul cultivation technique that belongs to them. The number of soul cultivation techniques was not even 1 in 100,000 of essence energy cultivation techniques. One could imagine the rarity of it. However, the preciousness of soul cultivation techniques did not lie on increasing the strength of martial artists. In fact, how powerful a soul was had a very limited impact on the strength of a martial artist. The prestige of soul cultivation techniques lay in that it could mass-produce alchemists. And what did alchemists mean? It meant endless medicinal pills. It meant that a sect could swiftly raise its strength. Just imagine, if a sect had a large number of peak-level spirit condensation realm martial artists, but these martial artists were unable to break through due to limitations of their talent. At this time, the sect's alchemists obtained a book on soul cultivation laws, and their strength soared, enabling them to refine medicinal pills capable of allowing spirit condensation realm martial artists to break through. Just how terrifying would something like that be? Alchemist was an occupation with a very low entry threshold but was extremely difficult to raise further. The low entry threshold was because one-star alchemist, commonly called as alchemy apprentice, had very low requirements toward soul strength. One could reach it with just the soul strength of an essence G realm martial artist. However, there was an enormous threshold from alchemy apprentice to alchemy master. That was because for tier 2 medicinal pills onwards, there would be a drastic increase in the soul strength required for the alchemist. This threshold called soul strength had blocked countless potential alchemists outside its gate. Every time a martial artist advanced a major cultivation realm, their soul would receive the nourishment from heaven and earth essence energy and experience a substantial growth from there. However, this sort of growth could not catch up to the increase in soul strength requirement for alchemists. Feng's hero had been a high-rank alchemy apprentice for a long time and also broke through to the spirit condensation realm long ago. Yet, she still could not become an alchemy master. The reason for that was insufficient soul strength. Now, a set of soul cultivation laws was in front of Yehang. How could he not be agitated? Yehang had remained a low-rank alchemy grandmaster for many years and was unable to break through, all because his soul strength was lacking. With the 1000 augmenting soul incantation, it was only a matter of time for Yehang to step into the middle-rank alchemy grandmaster. Yuan was right. That explosive UN pill and other matters were insignificant when compared to this 1000 augmenting soul incantation. Even if he were beaten by Wandong Hai to the point where he could not retaliate right now, with this set of 1000 augmenting soul incantation, it would be as easy as flipping his hand to overturn the drunken star manor in the future. That's right. This 1000 augmenting soul incantation is precisely a soul cultivation law technique. Yuan gave his father an affirmative look. That's excellent. 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 With this 1000 augmenting soul incantation, Wandong Hai is nothing. Ha ha ha. One could tell just how excited Yehang was to say 3 excellent consecutively. After his exhilaration, Yehang suddenly felt that something was not quite right. He asked Yuan, these 2 cultivation laws were imparted by that expert. If in the future, he found out that you secretly leaked out his cultivation techniques by imparting them to me privately, wouldn't that make things hard for you? I better not learn them. You just tell me the pill formula for the explosive UN pill, and that would do. Yehang gritted his teeth and rejected Yuan's good intentions. But anyone could see the reluctance in those eyes. However, Yuan was shaken to his core. He knew clearly the temptation a soul cultivation law had among alchemists. If one placed the throne, beautiful women, and a soul cultivation technique together, an alchemist would definitely choose the soul cultivation technique. As an alchemist himself, Ye Yuan was all too clear on this point. One could say that with a soul cultivation law, fame, status, and beauties would come forth one after another. How could an alchemist be foolish enough to choose the others? After all, strength was the foundation for alchemists just like martial artists. But Ye Hang would rather forsake the opportunity to become a high-tier alchemist for his sake. How could this not shock him? Since reincarnating until now, every little bit that Ye Hang did for him came into his mind, heavily affecting Ye Yuan's heart. Unknowingly, tears started to fall. In both his past and present life, this was the second time Ye Yuan cried. The first time he cried was when his father, xianxia, was killed by that traitor while protecting him. Even after experiencing life and death samsara, that scene remained equally vivid in his memory. The pain which was engraved into his bones and heart also pushed the Ye Yuan today to cultivate diligently in hopes that one day, he could slaughter his way back to the divine realm and kill that traitor with his own hands. This was the second time Ye Yuan cried. Even though it was not during a matter of life and death, Ye Hang's selfless fatherly love deeply touched Ye Yuan. Ye Yuan had only felt this feeling from xianxia before. Regardless of whether Ye Hang was his real father or not, that unconditional love for him was true. King Yunzi inherited and was influenced by Ye Yuan's body. So he naturally felt close to Ye Hang. In addition, Ye Hang's impression on the newly reincarnated Ye Yuan was pretty good. Ye Yuan felt guilty in his heart, so he acknowledged this father. But deep down inside him, Ye Yuan only treated him like somebody he was close with and did not have that kind of true father-son relationship. In Ye Yuan's heart, his real father was only xianxia. Hence, he did not impart these things to Ye Hang previously. But now, Ye Yuan approved Ye Hang as his father from the bottom of his heart. 2 lifetimes and both fathers had fatherly love akin to a mountain. It thawed Ye Yuan's heart. At first, when Ye Yuan took out these 2 sets of cultivation laws, he was actually still a little hesitant. However, if Ye Hang were eaten up by Wandong Hai, his future cultivation road would become increasingly difficult. With Wandong Hai's personality, he definitely would not let the weakened Ye Hang off. Ye Yuan was currently still weak, and could not defend himself. Thinking over and over again, Ye Yuan finally made this decision. But now, Ye Yuan was wholly assured. Looking at Ye Yuan's tear-stricken face, Ye Hang was alarmed and quickly asked, "What's wrong, Yuan? Did father say something wrong?" Ye Yuan shook his head and said, "I'm fine. I was just feeling touched. I wasn't sensible in the past and made you worry. In the future, I will definitely become your pride." Hearing this, Ye Hang calmed down and was overcome with emotion. "Ha ha. Silly son. You even learned to become melodramatic. We are father and son. Aren't you treating me like a stranger by saying that? However, Yuan, do you know what made me relieved was not because you obtained some peerless expert's inheritance, but because you grew up and became sensible. Men should never look back, but to go forward with indomitable will until they break through this world." Ye Yuan was visibly moved when he heard that speech. It was rarely seen for someone like Ye Hang in a tiny mortal country to harbor such ambition. Ye Yuan knew that Ye Hang's talent was not mediocre. What he lacked were resources. As long as there were sufficient resources, Ye Hang's future accomplishments definitely would not be small. Ye Hang was not more than 40 years old this year. He was still considered young on the road of martial arts, so the probability was still relatively huge. Ye Yuan gave Ye Hang a bow and said, "This child has learned well. However, father still has to learn these 2 sets of cultivation laws. There's nothing wrong with it. When that expert imparted these things to me, he didn't say anything about not allowing me to pass it on. So clearly, he left it up to me to decide. Furthermore, I'm not imparting it recklessly. You are my closest kin. I believe that he wouldn't say much if I pass it on to you. Is this really all right? Yehang was still a little hesitant. Just think, Father. Would a peerless figure like that possibly make such a low-level mistake? If he didn't allow me to spread these things, then he would definitely have warned me severely. But he didn't even mention anything, so he should have left it to my discretion. If he really wanted to find somebody to pass his mantle onto, he most likely wouldn't cripple me just because of this. At most, I will inform him of this the next time he comes to look for me. If he feels that it's inappropriate, then let us father and son shoulder it together. Ye Yuan said all that with a heroic spirit that soared, dispelling Yehang's misgivings. Fine. We, father and son, will shoulder it together. Ye Yuan also said valiantly. Although he said this verbally, Yehang actually thought otherwise. If that expert really comes to look for trouble for UNER, then I will just cripple my martial arts as an apology. I can't allow UNER to shoulder this matter. Of course, Yehang was not aware that the so-called expert did not even exist. The following days, both Ye Yuan and Yehang were in a closed-door seclusion and did not leave. Yehang spent all of his time on comprehending the 1,000 augmenting soul incantation, while Ye Yuan was consolidating his cultivation realm. Before entering a closed-door seclusion, Yehang instructed for the fragrant medicine pavilion to continue operating as per usual. Regardless of what the drunken Star Manor did, they were not to do anything rash. Everything will wait until he exited his closed-door seclusion. Now that he had the explosive UN pill, he was not in a hurry to make his move. He would first let Wandong Hai toss and turn around for a while, and then beat him to death with a single blow. With the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion's foundation, it was impossible to take down the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion in a short period of time even if Wandong Hai had those essence-gathering pills. Yehang wanted to make use of this time to swiftly raise his strength. In this world where the strong feasts on the weak, strength was the absolute truth. Yehang knew that the explosive UN pill's medicinal effects were multiple times of the essence Qi pill. But once it was exposed, the impact would not just be multiple times. Without sufficient strength, this explosive UN pill would instead become the root of a calamity. Yehang initially placed all of his attention on the 1,000 augmenting soul incantation and lacked interest in the spirit bristle 9 yang divine art. However, he only knew the terrifying might of the spirit bristle 9 yang divine art after cultivating it. In only 3 days' time, his cultivation realm that was stuck for a long time started to loosen. This was also the result of him cultivating the 1,000 augmenting soul incantation at the same time. Borrowing the power of medicinal pills, Yehang burst through the hurdle in one move, rising one minor cultivation realm. Above the spirit condensation realm was the crystal formation realm. In the crystal formation realm, the difficulty of trying to break through a minor realm did not fall below that of training from the 1st level Essence Qi realm to the 9th level Essence Qi realm. Some people might not even be able to break through a minor realm in 5 years or maybe even 10 years. The difficulty could not even be imagined. But Yehang discovered that ever since he cultivated the spirit bristle 9 yang divine art, the essence energy in his danshan became much thicker. His crystallized essence energy seemed to show signs of liquefying and recondensing. As for the 1,000 augmenting soul incantation, that was the soul incantation which Ye Yuan cultivated in his previous life. The pricelessness of it was naturally without any question. Similarly, within 3 days, Yehang's soul strength broke through, and he successfully broke through to become a middle-rank alchemy grandmaster. However, Yehang still did not have any intention of exiting his closed-door seclusion. He wanted to continue and concentrate entirely on the spirit bristle 9 yang divine art. Only then could he raise his strength. That was because Yehang was not certain what kind of a stir the explosive UN pill would cause once it surfaced. After 4 days, it was finally the day of the test. Ye Yuan exited seclusion and then headed to the Alchemist Association to gather with everyone. When Ye Yuan arrived, The Great Hall of the Alchemist Association was completely fully packed. He had not seen most of the people before, but he recognized a few of them, such as Feng Ruoqing and her niece, as well as Wang Yuan. Wang Yuan indeed came from a family with profound teachings. He was already a middle-rank alchemy apprentice long ago. This time around, he should be here to participate in the high-rank alchemy apprentice test. Furthermore, it was said that Wang Yuan's soul strength was rather robust. It would not be an issue for him to become an alchemy master in the future. And because of that, Wang Yuan received a great deal of attention in the Danwu Academy. Currently, Wang Yuan was talking to Feng's hero about something, while Feng's hero was as cold as ice and gave him the cold shoulder. Wang Yuan did not feel disgruntled by Feng's hero's action, but instead had a smile on his face. However, at this time, Feng's hero caught sight of Ye Yuan and suddenly showed an overjoyed expression. She shook off Wang Yuan and rushed over to Ye Yuan. Ye Yuan, why did you only arrive now? My aunt and I waited so long for you. We thought you were scared that you couldn't pass and decided to not come. Feng's hero said intimately. Ye Yuan knew that Feng's hero was doing this to shake off Wang Yuan and could not help looking over at Wang Yuan. As expected, he saw that face which turned the color of a pig's liver, along with a stare which could kill. Ye Yuan felt speechless as he saw a crafty look flashed across Feng's hero's eyes. This last definitely knew about the horrible relationship between Wang Yuan and me, so she purposely shook aside Wang Yuan to greet me. This was drawing aggro to Ye Yuan. But he and Wang Yuan were already at the stage where one of them had to die, so a little more did not matter. Ye Yuan had a headache. Why was Feng's hero's personality completely different from the sayings? To think that he even used her last time to annoy Lu Shui. What's the point of coming so early? It hasn't even begun yet. No need to make a huge fuss over it. It's just a test. Ye Yuan grumbled. Humph. I already heard all about you from Aunt. All the way until now, it's just empty talk. Who knows where you saw a bunch of crap from some records or books to actually coax my aunt like this? Feng's hero snorted. Ye Yuan could not be bothered to explain to her, and he directly walked past her to greet Feng Ruoqing. This scene when reflected in Wang Yuan's eyes looked more like flirting between couples, making him gnash his teeth in hatred. Although he liked Lu Shui, Feng's hero greatly outclassed her. If he could win the heart of this beauty, would that little Lu Shui even matter? Feng's hero was the goddess of the male students, and that naturally included Wang Yuan as well. It was just that Feng's hero's status and his was too far apart in the past. So there was no opportunity to make contact with her. Presently, Wang Yuan was an earth-rank student. Moreover, he was a middle-rank alchemy apprentice. He had full confidence in passing the high-rank alchemy apprentice test this time. Wang Yuan believed that before long, he could stand on the same starting line as Feng's hero. With adequate strength, Wang Yuan naturally started having other thoughts. Wang Yuan did not expect to meet Feng's hero during this alchemist test. So he thickened his face and introduced his background. But Feng's hero did not even react to it. Within the state of Qin, a middle-rank alchemy master was absolutely a figure that everyone wanted to curry favor with. If that was not the case, why would Lu Shui walk so closely with Wang Yuan? However, this title did not seem to be very useful with Feng's hero. It was like she had never even heard of the name Wan Donghai. Wang Yuan was stunned for a moment, but he felt relieved after thinking for a moment. The future accomplishments of the top 3 figures on the martial roll of honor would definitely not be beneath his father's. Being a little proud was normal. However, once these thoughts started to stir, it could no longer be suppressed. When chasing girls, the harder it was, the more it would arouse the fighting spirit of men. Except that Wang Yuan did not expect to see Ye Yuan here. Furthermore, Ye Yuan actually looked like he was on pretty good terms with Feng's hero. Besides, there were those vague rumors about Feng Ruoqing and Ye Yuan, making Wang Yuan's heart ablaze with the flames of jealousy. Who was Ye Yuan to even have such deep connections with the two great goddesses of the Danwu Academy? Although Ye Yuan recently rose up fiercely and even made Wang Yuan feel threatened, his scorn for Ye Yuan was deeply ingrained. He instinctively felt that Ye Yuan was not worthy to have all these. Fen Wuxing's eyes lit up when she saw Ye Yuan and pulled him aside to talk to him quietly. I pretty much mastered the left hand drawing a circle and right hand drawing a square training that you asked me to do. I didn't think that it would be quite beneficial for the yin-yang separation flow technique. Fen Wuxing was always calm and collected, but she was quite agitated right now. If not for the fact that this was not a suitable place, she even wanted to let out a cry of relief. The truth was, she already had practiced this yin-yang separation flow technique for a long time. But no matter how much she trained, she could not find a way to learn it. Now, after training for a few days according to Ye Yuan's method, her yin-yang separation flow technique unexpectedly improved by leaps and bounds. Ye Yuan rolled his eyes at Fen Wuxing and then said indignantly, "Didn't you say it was useless back then? Why did you pick it up again?" Fen Wuxing's excitement was abruptly cut, and she gave an embarrassed look. At the same time, she cursed endlessly in her heart. Why did this punk not have the slightest bit of tenderness towards women? He actually embarrassed me right in front of my face. You didn't say anything back then. How would I know whether it's useful or not? You should have at least explained to me why I had to do it. Fen Wuxing was somewhat aggrieved. Looking at Fen Wuxing's pitiful appearance, Ye Yuan did not feel it was nice to deride her anymore. The essence of the yin-yang separation flow technique is dual tasking. When you are using the technique, your essence energy was chaotic, and your two hands were not able to coordinate. It would be weirder for you to succeed. I asked you to train drawing so that you could learn how to dual task. But this is just the initial step. You still need bitter hard work if you want your two hands to control essence energy to the point of yin-yang harmony. Fen Wuxing gave a look of sudden realization. So that's the case. No wonder I couldn't improve no matter how much I trained. In all matters, the beginning was the hardest. Although Ye Yuan said that Fen Wuxing had just taken the initial step, as long as that step was taken, the path in the future would be much smoother. As an alchemist, Fen Wuxing's talent was not bad. What was missing was outlook and experience. All right. I don't need you to pay any tuition fees. But don't look for me to be an assistant in the future. I'm very busy. Ye Yuan waved his hands. Hearing this, Fen Wuxing felt another wave of bitterness. Other people could not wait to become her assistant, but Ye Yuan avoided her like the plague. Was she really not that attractive? Women were mysterious creatures. Sometimes, the more you chased her, the more she found you irritating. But after you maintained a distance away from her, she would feel a sense of loss. These two people whispering to each other naturally drew a lot of attention. Even though nobody knew what they were talking about, Fen Wuxing looked like a little wife getting scolded. The crowd could not help but wonder if there really was something going on between the two of them. At this time, several red-robed old men walked into the hall from the side door. Two of the old men even brought along a young lady each with them. Fen Wuxing was the instructor leading the group for this test. She was swapped in at the last minute. This was obviously the time for her to step out. "Ha. Are you well, Miss Feng? You haven't been to our association for some time. I'm afraid you are probably absorbed in researching alchemy again, are you? If you carry on like this, us old men are going to feel ashamed." An old man at the front seemed to be old acquaintances with Fen Wuxing and started a small talk right away. At this moment, Fen Wuxing recovered her demeanor as the beautiful, otherworldly instructor. She smiled lightly as she greeted the group of old men, Chairman Wang, Chairman Sun, and elders. "How do you do? Chairman Wang is pulling my leg. The last time I was here was half a year ago." "How was that long?" With Wuxing's measly cultivation, How would I dare to make Chairman Wang feel ashamed? You are the leading authority in the alchemist world in the state of Qin. Ha ha. Miss Fen really knows how to talk. But I, old Wan, am not joking around. The way I see it, the state of Qin would probably have another alchemy master in less than 3 years. Chairman Wang did not seem to be faking it and was actually full of praise for Feng Ruoqing. Feng Ruoqing smiled faintly and said, Chairman Wang is too kind. Ruoqing is not worthy. Chairman Wang laughed loudly. You are worthy. Worthy. Yeeth. Isn't this honorable nephew Wan Yuan? I didn't think that you would also come to take part in the test this time. Taking the high-rank alchemy apprentice test. Instantly, all eyes turned to Wan Yuan. Clearly, they did not expect Wan Yuan to know the deputy chairman of the Alchemist Association. Wan Yuan looked gloatingly at Ye Yuan and went up to greet them. He then said, Have you been well, Chairman Wan? This little nephew is here to take part in the high-rank alchemy apprentice test. Good. Good. Honorable nephew really has profound family teachings to already have the strength of a high-rank alchemy apprentice at such a young age. Old brother Wan has a worthy successor. Each new generation really excels the old one. I'm really old already. Chairman Wang ridiculed himself slightly. Chairman Wang is still in your prime. Why would you say that you are old? All the elders here are our state of Qin's alchemists, people who are supporting the cauldron. Chairman Wang and Chairman Sun are even the leading figures. We juniors still have a long way to go. Wan Yuan's flattering was so resounding that he threw everyone in. Ha ha. I'm old already. Can't compare to back then. Miss Fen, old son, and I brought along 2 juniors today. Do you mind us cutting your queue here? Chairman Wang turned to Feng Ruoqing. Feng Ruoqing nodded slightly and said, To let them witness your 2 accomplished disciples' power and know that there is always someone better is undoubtedly a good thing. Don't say that. This is my last disciple, Su Fen Er. The one beside old son is my granddaughter and also his proud successor, Sun Qiun. These 2 juniors are good for nothings, so don't laugh later, Miss Fen. The 2 of you, why haven't you come to greet Teacher Fen? She's only a few years older than you, but she is already a middle-rank alchemy master. You 2 have to learn more from her. Even though Chairman Wang belittled the 2 young ladies, he could not hide the satisfaction in his eyes. It looked like were it not for these 2 young ladies, with Chairman Wang's and Chairman Sun's status as alchemy grandmasters, they would not have personally came to host the test. Fen Er, Qiun, has seen Teacher Fen. The 2 ladies gave Feng Ruoqing a bow, their eyes filled with worship. To become a middle-rank alchemy master at this age was absolutely a target worth prostrating to for all young people. Ye Yuan silently sized up these 2 lasses. Their soul strength was indeed mighty. It looked like it should not be an issue for them to become alchemy masters after stepping into the spirit condensation realm. All right. Everyone is an outstanding student of the Danwu Academy. Some of you have already participated in this test several times before, so I won't go through the rules too much. The first test that takes place will be the Alchemy Apprentice test, followed by the Alchemy Master test. Each group will have 5 people entering the refinement room. Now, those participating in the Alchemy Apprentice test stand on the left. Those taking the Alchemy Master test stand on the right. Chairman Wang organized them into groups. There were only 20 people from the Danwu Academy participating in the test this time. Including Su Fen Er and Sun Qiun, there were only 22 people. The majority of them came to participate in the Alchemy Apprentice test, and only 2 of them are taking the Alchemy Master test. One of them was Feng's hero, while the other was 1 rank below Feng's hero on the Alchemy Roll of Honor, CAOU. After Chairman Wang said this, a large group moved to the left, while Feng's hero and CAOU stood to the right, leaving Ye Yuan standing in his original position and not moving. Seeing this, Chairman Wang frowned and was slightly displeased. This young friend, didn't you hear what I said? Everyone looked at Yayuan in amazement, while Wang Yuan had a gloating face. This punk was indeed still an eccentric. Was it not courting death to behave like that in front of a top figure like Chairman Wang? Seeing that Yayuan still did not move, Feng Ruoqing became anxious and called out, "What are you still standing there for, Yayuan? Quickly move to the left." Actually, I want to ask if I can stand on the right side," Yayuan said a little helplessly. He did not want to be unconventional, but since he promised Feng Ruoqing to go all out, Yayuan did not plan on concealing his strength. When he promised Feng Ruoqing, Yayuan thought about it a little. In the future, with the increase in strength, he would not be able to avoid this hurdle called Alchemist Association. If his alchemy Dao was extraordinarily strong, but he did not take part in the alchemist tests all the way, then he would genuinely be a maverick. If at that time, it spreads to the ears of that traitor or the Alchemist Association's headquarters, then it would not be fun. It would be very easy to arouse their suspicion. Ha ha ha. There was an uproar of laughter. A fourth-level Essence G realm wants to participate in the Alchemy Master test. Are you joking or are you making fun of both Chairman Wang and Chairman Sun? Wang Yuan berated out loud, but he actually had the sinister intentions of making the two chairmen get a terrible impression of Yayuan. As expected, when the two of them heard what Wang Yuan said, their faces turned ugly. "This young friend, didn't you hear clearly? The right side is for those taking the Alchemy Master test." Chairman Wang's face fell, and his words became less courteous. It was clear that he was unhappy. "Yayuan, why haven't you apologized to the two chairmen? This is the Alchemist Association. You can't act wildly here." Feng Ruoqing repeatedly signaled with her eyes at Yayuan worriedly. Offending the two big heads of the Alchemist Association at the same time was no laughing matter. The Alchemist Association had always been an aloof existence. Even the imperial family could not command them. Nobody had dared to make fun of the Alchemist Association's chairman before. But now, Yayuan set a new precedent. Of course, this was how the others saw it. However, Yayuan did not seem to see it like that. Instead, he smiled and then said to Chairman Wang, "This junior has heard clearly, and I want to stand on the right side. I want to participate in the Alchemy Master test. You, a fourth-level Essence G realm, wants to join the Alchemy Master test." Chairman Wang indeed became angry. "That's right." Yayuan remained fearless. "Whose family's brat are you? To actually be so impertinent. Did you come here today to beguile us elders?" Chairman Wang was already on the edge of exploding. If it was not for the sake of Feng Ruoqing's face, he would have thrown Yayuan out long ago. At this time, Wang Yuan came forward very naturally to follow up. "Please calm down, Chairman Wang. This person has always been arrogant, and he never respects his elders. But speaking of his family, I believe Chairman Wang also knows his father." "Oh, do say, honorable nephew. Who is his father?" Chairman Wang asked curiously. "His father is Yehang, the owner of the Fragrant Medicine Pavilion," Wang Yuan replied respectfully. Hearing that, Chairman Wang frowned and said, "He is actually old brother Ye's son? Old brother Yet is a tiger father. How could he possibly beget such a shallow and frivolous son?" Yayuan was around the same age as Wang Yuan but was only at the fourth-level Essence G realm. Clearly, he was someone who made no effort to seek progress. If he was only at the fourth-level Essence G realm, then forget it. But he actually did not know what was good for him and wanted to participate in the Alchemy Master test. Did he think that Alchemy Masters were like cabbages? He had gradually advanced along the alchemy path for so many years now, but he had never heard of any ninth-level Essence G realm becoming an Alchemy Master, let alone a fourth-level Essence G realm. God knew how many spirit condensation realms were stopped outside the gate of Alchemy Master, Yet a 4th-level xianxia realm shamelessly boasted that he wanted to participate in the alchemy master test. If this was not causing trouble on purpose, then what was? I'm not bored enough to be here and entertain you. I just feel that taking the test one rank at a time wastes too much time, so it's better to just take the alchemy master test directly. Ye Yuan's words shocked everyone greatly. Humph. Taking into account that you are Ye Hang's son, I will overlook the sin of disrespect, but I think you can forget about this test. Miss Fen, it's not that this old man isn't giving you any face, but this brat is too mischievous. Men, throw this person out for me. Chairman Wan finally lost his temper. Wan Yuan was bursting with joy right now and thought to himself that the evil that people brought on themselves were the hardest to bear. Hold on. At that moment, Fen Wuxia finally called out to stop this. Hold on. Fen Wuxia went forward without any hesitation. Fen Wuxia's action sparked a wave of murmuring among the students. It seemed like the relationship between these two was becoming more apparent. Please calm down, Chairman. May I speak with him? Even though Fen Wuxia was an instructor in the Danwu Academy, her qualifications were still somewhat lacking in the Alchemist Association's territory. Chairman Wang pondered for a moment before nodding his head. Fen Wuxia looked at Ye Yuan with complicated eyes, trying to see if whether he really had a plan or he was messing around. But after staring for a long time, she could not see anything. Let me ask you, Ye Yuan. Is our agreement earlier still valid? Fen Wuxia asked in a low voice. It was just that this question seemed a little ambiguous, so apart from Feng's hero who knew the details, everyone's imaginations ran wild. Ye Yuan replied somewhat helplessly, if it wasn't for keeping our agreement, do you think that I enjoy being looked on by them like I'm a freak? Hearing Ye Yuan say this, Fen Wuxia's state of mind somehow became relaxed. Other people did not know Ye Yuan's alchemy deo prowess, but Fen Wuxia was very clear on it. To be able to casually instruct her, a middle-rank alchemy master, what Ye Yuan was lacking was most likely just cultivation realm. Fen Wuxia had the feeling that what she saw was only a tip of the iceberg of Ye Yuan's abilities. Just what kind of a freak was this fellow? He was only 15 years old. You mean you are confident? Even though she had confidence in Ye Yuan, what Ye Yuan was about to do was too subversive of common sense. So she had to confirm again. That I'm not too sure, Ye Yuan replied very irresponsibly. Seeing that Fen Wuxia was about to storm off, Ye Yuan immediately followed up and said, will simply refining any kind of Tier 2 medicinal pill work? That's right. As long as you can refine any kind of Tier 2 medicinal pill within 4 hours, it counts as passing the low-rank alchemy master test. I see. If that's the case, then it shouldn't be an issue, Ye Yuan said nonchalantly, as if refining a Tier 2 medicinal pill was as simple as drinking water and eating rice. Since that's the case, I hope you don't disappoint me. After Fen Wuxia finished, she pulled out a bottle of medicinal pills from inside her sleeves, and then said to Chairman Wan, Chairman, I have 3 soul-nourishing pills that I will place here as collateral for Ye Yuan. If Ye Yuan is really here to cause trouble, then these 3 soul-nourishing pills will be an apology to the association. When these words were said, shock could be seen on everyone's faces. The soul-nourishing pill was a genuine Tier 3 medicinal pill. Furthermore, it was a highly sought and precious Tier 3 medicinal pill. That was because the effects of the soul-nourishing pill was to strengthen a martial artist's divine soul. It was able to make a martial artist's soul more powerful. This type of medicinal pill was something that alchemists dreamed about. Chairman Wan was also astonished. He did not expect Fen Wuxia to pull out such a precious item for Ye Yuan. As one of the major heads of the Alchemist Association, he knew Fen Wuxia's true identity. That was why he was so courteous to her. If someone else were leading the team today, then with his status, he would not be bothered to talk so much crap with them. Miss Feng really wants to take out such a precious item for an ignorant brat. Chairman Wang asked disbelievingly. Rocking knows that Ye Yuan's actions are unconventional, but I believe that he has the ability. Just because we have never seen something before, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Things that we can't do doesn't mean that others can't do it as well. Feng Rocking said firmly. Fine. Since Miss Feng insists on it, then this old man won't be the bad guy today. But Miss Feng needs to know that I only agreed for your sake. If it were another person, I wouldn't accompany her to mess around even if she took out the soul-nourishing pill, Chairman Wang said seriously. Thank you, Chairman Wang. Feng Rocking bowed slightly to express thanks. She knew that Chairman Wang was not lying. Even though the soul-nourishing pill was precious, this kind of medicinal pills was not overly scarce with the Alchemist Association's might. The main reason why he agreed was still taking into account that she was the head imperial princess. Since Miss Feng is so insistent, then Ye Yuan, stand on the right. But this old man will say some nasty words first. If you are really making fun of old me, I can forsake these pills, but you will pay for this. Otherwise, if this matter spreads, people will think that my Alchemist Association has become a place for children to mess around. Chairman Wang's did not speak quickly, but each word was loud and clear. It was evident that he made up his mind to give Ye Yuan a good one. Ye Yuan could not be bothered with him and went to stand beside Feng's hero. Hey! Did you make a mistake? Don't harm my aunt. How can you, a 4th level Essence G realm, possibly refine a Tier 2 medicinal pill? Feng's hero said indignantly. Ye Yuan glanced at Feng's hero and then retracted his eyes. He said indifferently, you better take care of yourself. I think you are going to fail this time. Why is the Academy's alchemy roll of honor so weak? You. Feng's hero did not expect Ye Yuan to rebuke her and was so infuriated that she was speechless. On the other side, Wang Yuan gnashed his teeth as he looked at Ye Yuan hatefully. Why? Why did Teacher Feng take out such a valuable thing for him? Just what capabilities does he, Ye Yuan, have? Just wait and see. Right now, you are unbelievably arrogant. In a while, I will see just how you intend to wind up. Wang Yuan was yelling in his heart. Individual pill refinement rooms were used for this test. There were a total of 10 pill refinement rooms. 5 refinement rooms in a row at the east side, and another 5 at the west side. At the center was a great hall, and at the north of the hall was a light screen. The examiner could see everything happening in the refinement room through this light screen. At the south of the hall was a herbal warehouse. Alchemy involved many things such as controlling fire, medicinal theory, array formations, and etc. But in the end, it was all for refining the medicinal pill. No matter how strong in one aspect a person was, if they could not refine out a medicinal pill, then it was useless. There would not be any recognition. Hence, the Alchemist Association's tests had always taken a completed medicinal pill's grade as the benchmark. Whatever pill one could refine meant that they belonged to that alchemist rank. This was the most straightforward way, as well as the most persuasive. 4 hours were neither too long nor too short. It required the success rate of refining a medicinal pill to not be too low. This also reduced the likelihood of the alchemist being lucky. In this place, everything was decided by strength. The test officially begins now. Examines can start choosing the herbs. The first 2 groups of students, make your way into the herbal warehouse. The host of the test changed to a middle-aged alchemy master. Under his instructions, the first 2 groups of students went into the herbal warehouse to choose their herbs. Selection of herbs being included in the 4 hours was actually also a form of test for the students. It was a basic skill for an alchemist to find the required herbs in the shortest amount of time, in order to save time for the preparation of the herbs and refinement process later. As a matter of fact, one could tell the strength of the students from this herb selection stage. The faster and more accurate a person was when choosing the herbs meant that they had a more skillful understanding of medicinal theory. It also meant that they had a better grasp on the attributes of the various herbs when refining. The success rate of refinement would naturally also rise significantly. Fen Wuraking's gaze involuntarily looked towards Yaoyuan, and she thought to herself that with Yaoyuan's extreme understanding towards herbs, he only needed to spend a short while inside the herbal warehouse. When she was refining the qi returning pill, he could actually use his hands to flawlessly grab and prepare various herbs. It was truly heaven-defying. He was clearly only 15 years old. Even if he started training alchemy in his mother's womb, how was it possible to reach such a level? Thinking up to this point, Fen Wuраking gained a little more confidence in Yaoyuan. Perhaps Yaoyuan could really create a miracle? In the first two group, the main focus was naturally Su Fen-er and Sun Qian. Reality had proven that these two people truly could best the Danwu Academy students. When the two of them walked out of the herbal warehouse, everyone else was still looking for herbs. As for Su Fen-er and Sun Qian, the two of them were pretty much neck to neck and exited the herbal warehouse together. Watching Su Fen-er and Sun Qian standing out like cranes among chickens, both Elder Wang and Elder Sun felt a pleasant warmth on their faces. Especially Elder Wang, who was vexed by Yaoyuan earlier. Right now, he felt his mood turn for the better. Elder Wang was named Wang Jinfu, and Elder Sun was Sun Ji Unming. The two of them were veterans in the Alchemist Association and also highly respected alchemy grandmasters who were second to none in the state of Qin. Both of them were the Alchemist Association deputy chairman, but they were secretly competing by bringing their disciples to take part in this test this time around. Oh, old son. I didn't think that Qian this last would improve so quickly. I'm afraid you expended no little effort on her, Wang Jinfu said as he stroked his beard. Ha ha. Your family's Fen-er isn't bad either. I remember that you only took her in as your last disciple the previous year. I didn't think that she was going to become a high-rank alchemy apprentice this quickly. That's right. Fen-er this lass is quite intelligent. Just a little bit, and she would understand. She is a good seedling. During this herb selection stage, it counts as a draw between the two of them. But this is just the appetizer. The key point is still the refinement. Sun Ji Unming nodded in approval. It was apparent that between these two old men, Wang Jianfu was more talkative, while Sun Ji Unming was taciturn. After Su Fen-er and Sun Qian entered the refinement room, they immediately started preparing the herbs. During the preparation stage, their actions were very swift and proficient. One could see that the two of them were frequently assisting the two old fogies outside. However, these basic skills were normally not visible. The effects would only show itself when it really came down to it. Aside from some students who had greater emphasis placed on them, the Danwu Academy students rarely had the opportunity to do miscellaneous tasks for the instructors. Thus, they obviously could not be compared to how fast Su Fen-er and Sun Qian were. Furthermore, Wang Jianfu and Sun Ji Unming were alchemy grandmasters. With them teaching step by step along the way, it would be impossible for these two girls not to stand above the rest. The Danwu Academy students were worse off once again during this segment. What amazed everyone was that the two of them progressed in a synchronized manner without any clear distinction between them. It was like Su Fen-er and Sun Qian discussed it beforehand. From selecting the herbs to finishing the preparation of the herbs, these two girls took around an hour. One could see just how solid their fundamental skills were. Each student had 3 chances in the Alchemist Association's test. So everyone would prepare 3 sets of herbs. Su Fen-er and Sun Qian finished preparing their herbs and started on their first refinement. In the hall, Feng's hero watched the light screen in utter boredom. She was already a high-rank alchemy apprentice since long ago, so she obviously lacked interest in watching this kind of matches again. Hey, Yaoyuan. Who do you think will win between those two girls? Feng's hero moved over to Yaoyuan's side and started talking with voice transmission. In this hall, no matter how quiet she was, those two old men would definitely hear it with their strength. Sun Qian, Ye Yuan similarly replied using voice transmission without even thinking about it. You already knew it. Why? Feng's hero was surprised. Feng's hero did not doubt Ye Yuan's words. She knew that Ye Yuan was really amazing. Feng Ruoking's eyes were always at the top of her head. A youth that was so highly regarded by her aunt was absolutely no ordinary man. It was just that no matter how amazing she felt Ye Yuan was, she did not think that he could pass through the alchemy master test with his 4th level essence Qi realm. Because Chairman Sun is a notch above, Ye Yuan replied nonchalantly. Chairman Sun? What has it got to do with Chairman Sun? Feng's hero was confused by Ye Yuan. Chairman Sun is a man of few words and is more infatuated with alchemy Dao. His abilities should be a notch above Chairman Wang's. Chairman Sun is pragmatic, so he is logically more strict when teaching apprentices. Sun Qian inherited her predecessor's style, so she is obviously a cut above. No way. Just because of this. Ye Yuan rolled his eyes at Feng's hero. When they were choosing the herbs, the two of them seemed to be on par. But Sun Qian was actually slightly faster than Su Fen Er. Feng's hero was dumbfounded. How did you tell? Su Fen Er is refining the Fierce Tiger Pill, while Sun Qian is refining the Profound Clarity Pill. The Profound Clarity Pill has one more secondary ingredient than the Fierce Tiger Pill, but the two of them finished at the same time. The winner and the loser are clear at a glance. Ye Yuan's words left Feng's hero wide-mouthed for a moment. Why, you aren't talking rubbish, are you? You can tell what kind of pill they are refining just from the light screen? Ye Yuan gave a faint smile. Won't you know whether I'm talking rubbish or not after they finish refining? Fine then. I want to see if you are the real thing. If I find out that you were talking crap, no need for Chairman Wang to take action. I will throw you out first. Feng's hero threatened him. Whatever. Ye Yuan said indifferently. TCH talked until it sounds so incredible. The final result of the test still lies on the refined medicinal pill. Even if they really refined a Fierce Tiger Pill and a Profound Clarity Pill, it still wouldn't be easy to determine the winner between these two pills, right? After a short while, Feng's hero found it boring and transmitted her voice over again. No, the winner has already been decided. Acting. Carry on acting. I don't believe that you can tell which one of them won from the light screen. Both of their herbs are only halfway refined and haven't condensed into a pill yet. Feng's hero was triggered by Ye Yuan's posturing attitude and felt even more strongly that Ye Yuan was talking nonsense. Sun Qian's refinement went smoothly. Without any accident, it should be a high-grade medicinal pill. But Su Fen Er made a small mistake at the start of the refinement. Even though she corrected it right away, it definitely affected the quality of the Fierce Tiger Pill. At best, it can barely reach the high-grade standard. If later on she made another mistake, it wouldn't be surprising for it to become a middle-grade medicinal pill. Ye Yuan continued to analyze calmly. Did Su Fen Er make a mistake? Why didn't I see it? Your level is too low, so you can't see it. Ye Yuan. You. If not for the fact that this was not the right place, Feng's hero would definitely stab him with her sword again. Su Fen Er and Sun Qian finished refining virtually at the same time. Furthermore, they succeeded with one try and only used an hour. Among these two groups of students, they thoroughly deserved to be kings. It was already without any doubt that they passed the high-rank alchemy apprentice test. What was left was seeing the quality of the medicinal pill that the two of them refined to determine who was better. The two of them carried the medicinal pill that they refined and walked to the hall. Bowing towards the two old men, they said respectfully, "Master, grandfather, please inspect." But Wang Junfa laughed and turned to Feng Ruoking instead. It naturally isn't nice for us to talk about our family. Can Miss Feng come and help us judge? Feng Ruoking smiled lightly and said, "It's better to accept than to stand on ceremony." Feng Ruoqing took the medicinal pill on Su Feng'er's tray and inspected closely. A high-grade Tier 1 medicinal pill, the Fierce Tiger Pill. It was completed outstandingly and has reached the standard of high grade. Finishing, Feng Ruoqing did the same with Sun Qiun's medicinal pill, and said, a high-grade Tier 1 medicinal pill, the Profound Clarity Pill. Similarly finished splendidly. The grade of the medicinal pill has also reached the standard of high grade. At a corner, Feng Xiro's jaw dropped and looked at Ye Yuan as if she saw a ghost. Along with Feng Ruoqing's mellow voice, the shock in Feng Xiro's heart grew greater. What Ye Yuan said earlier was no different from what Feng Ruoqing said. One had to know that the light curtain only showed the herbal warehouse, and those herbs could only be vaguely seen. Some of them could not even be made out. At least, Feng Xiro was unable to make it out. But Ye Yuan actually guessed the medicinal pills the two girls were going to refine just by looking at the light curtain. Just how did he do it? Ha ha. Don't be afraid of offending us two old crocs, Miss Feng. If there's anything, just say it. Our tolerance isn't small to that extent. Since I'm competing with old man's son, there obviously needs to be a winner. In the end, there has to be a difference in quality between the medicinal pills refined by Feng'er and Qiun. Miss Feng doesn't need to have any misgivings, just say it. Wang Jinfa knew that Feng Ruoqing did not want to offend both sides, which was why she said it as if the two girls fought to a draw. But in reality, no matter how similar two people's alchemy deo prowess were, in the end, it was impossible for medicinal pills refined to be identical. That was because there were too many elements that could affect the finished product. Feng Ruoqing gave a faint smile, before saying, then Chairman Wang and Chairman Sun mustn't blame this little girl, all right. Don't say that. Since you were invited to be the judge, it wouldn't be reasonable to blame you. Sun Jianming, who had been keeping mum, also voiced out. In reality, both Miss Feng'er and Miss Qiun are very outstanding. The two people's abilities are also on par. It's just that during Miss Feng'er's refinement process, there was a slight flaw, resulting in the medicinal pill to be slightly inferior in quality. I can see that this Fierce Tiger Pill's color is slightly dull. This should have been a result of a small error during the first step when tempering with fire. Feng Ruoqing's words were on point. Ha ha ha. Wang Jinfa laughed heartily, but there was no unexpected color change on his face. To think that the disciple you, old man's son, groomed is so incredible. It looks like you have a qualified successor. Feng'er, learn from this mistake. In the future, you have to be more diligent. Don't become arrogant just because you are my apprentice, understood? Feng'er understands, Su Feng'er replied dispiritedly. All right. It's almost time. Let the next batch begin, Wang Jinfa commanded. There was naturally someone to judge the medicinal pills refined by the others. Elder Wang and Elder Sun obviously would not stoop to do these sort of things with their exalted status. In this batch of people, the main focus had to be Wan Yuan. One had to say that Wan Yuan had the capital to be arrogant in terms of alchemy deo. He was only a few months older than Ye Yuan, but he had already possessed the strength of a high-rank alchemy apprentice. He could absolutely wonder, probably within the same age group. His future accomplishments would most likely not be beneath his father's. Humph. Feng Ruoqing, Feng Xiro, I'm going to let you see what a true alchemy deo genius is. That Ye Yuan is just a clown. On the day I step on the stage of Alchemy Master, would I even need to fear that you, Feng Xiro, wouldn't be moved? Wan Yuan thought to himself. He had saved up enough strength in order to perform well in front of Feng Xiro, just to make her see him in a different light. Wan Yuan felt unspeakable emotions watching Feng Xiro and Ye Yuan making eyes at each other. Entering the herbal warehouse, Wan Yuan chose his herbs at top speed. The other students only came out of there after he had exited 30 minutes earlier. From this, whoever was superior could be instantly judged. Wan Yuan had the intention of showing off. The later phases were practically finished in one go. Especially after he started refining, his technique dazzled everyone, leaving them overwhelmed. Old son, it looked like old brother Wan has groomed a fine son. He even beat our 2 apprentices. Wang Jinfu was a veteran alchemy grandmaster, so his judgment was on point. As he watched Wan Yuan's refinement performance, he knew that Wan Yuan was much stronger than Su Fen'er and Sun Qian. That's right. Wan Donghai, that punk really has some skill. These past few years, he suppressed Yehang completely. Who would have thought that the son he groomed was also this impressive? At this rate, Wan Yuan would probably surpass his father. Sun Jianming had always been a man of few words. To have given such an evaluation showed that Wan Yuan's performance had already conquered him. Indeed, the way I see it, Wan Yuan's flowing cloud scattering hence is already 70% of Wan Donghai's. What's lacking is only experience and cultivation realm. In the future, this child will surely do great things. Humph. Unlike Yehang's son, trying to seek popularity through claptrap. Ridiculous. Wang Jinfu gave an exceedingly high evaluation to Wan Yuan, while at the same time he also dropped a timely disdain toward Ye Yuan. He was clearly very displeased with Ye Yuan causing trouble today. Every alchemist had their own unique refinement technique. And flowing cloud scattering hence was precisely the technique Wan Donghai was famous for. Wang Jinfu and Sun Jianming did not deliberately cover up their conversation, so it naturally reached Feng Xiro's and Ye Yuan's ears. Ye Yuan looked calm and relaxed, and he did not show any reaction. Instead, it was Feng Xiro who had a gloating face. She transmitted her voice once again and said, "Hey, how can you be so calm when they are praising your opponent like that?" Having experienced the initial shock, Feng Xiro could only use abnormal to explain Ye Yuan's earlier performance. But deep down inside, Feng Xiro started to faintly anticipate Ye Yuan's performance later. Perhaps he really could do it. Hearing Feng Xiro's voice transmission, Ye Yuan remained emotionless as he replied, "Opponent. I've never treated him as an opponent." If it were in the past, Feng Xiro would definitely snort in derision at these words. But now, Feng Xiro felt that Ye Yuan might truly think this way in his heart. One had to know that earlier when Su Fen'er made that tiny error, not even the 2 alchemy grandmasters present and her aunt saw it. Otherwise, they would not need to hold this competition. However, Ye Yuan saw it long ago. And during Su Fen'er's and Sun Qian's refinement process, Ye Yuan already determined the grade of their medicinal pills. This was not something that an ordinary person could do. Feng Xiro believed that even if Ye Yuan did not pass the alchemy master test, his horizons were not something that the 2 alchemy grandmasters could compare to. Could it be that Ye Yuan's theoretical standard was already on par with an alchemy king? A 15-years-old youth with the standard of an alchemy king. Feng Xiro was frightened by her own thought. "Tch. You really can act." Although she already agreed with Ye Yuan's words in her heart, Feng Xiro still remained scornful on the surface. She did not know why, but she felt that Ye Yuan was very infuriating. Perhaps the reason was that she had always been pursued since young. No man had ever been so contemptuous toward her before. Seeing that Ye Yuan did not react, Feng Xiro asked again, "Hey, Ye Yuan. You said that I can't pass the test this time. Is that true?" "Of course it's true. I'm not so familiar with you as to joke with you," Ye Yuan replied casually. "Hey. Why do you talk like this?" Feng Xiro was upset again. "Am I very close to you?" Ye Yuan glanced at Feng Xiro and asked. That Feng Xiro recalled that this was only their second meeting. They really could not count as being on familiar terms. Not only we are not close, but we're also even considered enemies, right? Feng Xiro's face flushed red. She knew that Ye Yuan still bore a grudge against that sword. "Ye Yuan, are you a man or not? Why do you keep harping on that small matter?" "Small matter? That sword of yours nearly took my life. Just how great is the hatred between us? Ye Yuan snarled irately. Feng's hero knew that she was in the wrong, and so she kept mum in anger.